Rich Dad Poor Dad, Chapter 1 Continuation. Last part Continuation. Oh, yes, I hear it all the time, said Rich Dad. I hear things like, well, everyone has to work, or the rich are crooks, or I'll get another job. I deserve this raise. You can't push me around. Or I like this job because it is secure. No one asks, is there something I am missing here, which would break through the emotional thought and give you time to think clearly. As we headed back to the store, Rich Dad explained that rich really did make money. They did not work for it. He went on to explain that when Mike and I were casting 5-cent pieces out of lead, thinking we are making money, we were very close to thinking the way the rich think. The problem was that creating money is legal for the government and banks to do, but illegal for us to do. There are legal ways to create money from nothing, he told us. Rich Dad went on to explain that rich know that money is an illusion, truly like the carrot for the donkey. It's only out of fear and greed that illusion of money is held together by billions of people who believe that money is real. It's not. Money is really made up. It is only because of the illusion of confidence and the ignorance of the masses that this house of cards stand. He talked about the gold standard that America was on, and that each dollar bill was actually a silver certificate. What concerned him was the rumor that we would someday go off the gold standard and our dollar would no longer be backed by something tangible. If that happens, boys, all hell will break loose. The poor, the middle class, and the ignorant will have their lives ruined simply because they will continue to believe that money is real and that the company they work for or the government will look after them. We really did not understand what he was saying that day, but over the years it made more and more sense. Seeing what others miss. As he climbed into his pickup truck outside his convenience store, Rich Dad said, keep working, boys. But the sooner you forget about needing a paycheck, the easier your adult life will be. Keep using your brain. Work for free, and soon your mind will show you ways of making money far beyond what I could ever pay you. You will see things that other people never see. Most people never see these opportunities because they are looking for money and security. So that's all they get. The moment you see one opportunity, you will see them for the rest of your life. The moment you do that, I'll teach you something else. Learn this, and you will avoid one of life's biggest traps. Mike and I picked up our things from the store and waved goodbye to Mrs. Martin. We went back to the park to the same picnic bench and spent several hours thinking and talking. We spent next week at the school thinking and talking too. For 2 more weeks, we kept thinking, talking, and working for free. We spent the next week at school thinking and talking too. For 2 more weeks, we kept thinking, talking, and working for free. At the end of the second Saturday, I was again saying goodbye to Mrs. Martin and looking at the comic book stand with a longing gaze. The hard thing about not even getting 30 cents every Saturday was that I did not have any money to buy comic books. Suddenly, as Mrs. Martin said goodbye to Mike and me, I saw her doing something I never seen her do before. Mrs. Martin was cutting the front page of the comic book in half. She kept the top half of the comic book cover and threw the rest of the book into the large cardboard box. When asked her what she did with the comic book, she said, I threw them away. I give the top half of the cover back to the comic book distributor for credit when he brings in the new comics. He is coming in an hour. Mike and I waited for an hour. Soon the distributor arrived and I asked him if we could have the comic books. To my delight, he said, you can have them if you work for this store and do not resell them. Remember our old business partnership? Well, Mike and I revived it. Using a spare room in Mike's basement, we began piling hundreds of comic books in that room. Soon our comic book library was open to the public. We hired Mike's younger sister, who loved to study, to be head librarian. She charged each child 10 cents admission to the library, which was open from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. every day after school. The customers, the children of the neighborhood, would read as many comics as they wanted in 2 hours. It was a bargain for them since a comic cost 10 cents each and they would read 5 or 6 in 2 hours. Mike's sister would check the kids as they left to make sure they were not borrowing any comic books. She also kept the books, logging in how many kids showed up each day who they were, and any comments they might have. Mike and I averaged $9.5 per week over a 3-month period. We paid his sister $1 a week and allowed her to read the comics for free, which she rarely did since she was always studying. Mike and I kept our agreement by working in the store every Saturday and collecting all the comic books from the different stores. We kept our agreement to the distributor by not selling any comic book. We burned them once they got too tattered. We tried opening the branch office. We would never quite find someone as trustworthy and dedicated as Mike's sister. At an early age, we found out how hard it was to find good staff. 3 months after the library first opened, a fight broke out in the room. Some bullies from another neighborhood pushed their way in, and Mike's dad suggested we shut down the business. So our comic book business shut down, and we stopped working on Saturdays at the convenience store. But Rich Dad was excited because he had new things he wanted to teach us. He was happy because we had learned our first lesson so well. We learned to make money work for us by not paid for work at the store. We were forced to use our imagination to identify an opportunity to make money. By starting our own business, the comic book library, we were in the control of our own finances, not dependent on an employer. The best part was that our business generated money for us even when we were not physically there. Our money worked for us. Instead of paying us money, Rich Dad had given us so much more. Rich Dad Poor Dad Chapter 1 last part completed. Thanks for listening.